Alright, so we're continuing our Shaar Hagilgulim-7. This is a small recap of what we said last week, where we're up to. So we said that a person who comes in the Gilgul and he messed up the first time. When he comes back, he can never get his nefesh, ruach, and shama all at the same time again.
This is, if he messed up and never did any tikkun. That's what we're talking about, right?
Well, he has to do a major tikkun. It's not a simple tikkun. So let's say the guy, so this is the case. The guy who was born, he got his nefesh, his ruach, and his shama, he made a big pickup. Let's say like Yerav'am ben Nevat, the king of Israel. This is an example.
This is a major thing.
Yeah, but he got his neshama and he made a big pickup. Now when he dies, he has to come back. Now after the Gehenom and the cleansing of his neshamot,
Who knows how long
that was. Now he has to come back as a nefesh to finish the mitzvot that he needs to do. Correct?
So he basically starts from
nefesh. He starts from nefesh. If the nefesh,
even he had everything.
Right.
Now he starts.
Yeah, because if the nefesh has a pigam, the nefesh must complete itself now. Right?
Before he.
So there are some things Gehenom clean, some things it doesn't clean. Right? When he comes back, or Torah, he didn't finish learning some Torah that he was supposed to get. Correct? So he has to come back and finish that Torah. You don't know what spark finished it or not.
Person like Ben Avad.
Right now is a big issue. I just gave you an example.
Yeah, the guy cannot even go to Gehenom. He learns so much
But
Torah.
let's say we're going to learn Hakdama Dalet, that a person who learns Torah, Gehenom doesn't accept him.
That's what that was.
Right. So he has no choice but to come in at Gilgul. The Gehenom doesn't take him. It doesn't fix him because he's so. He has such a. He's vaccinated. He's vaccinated. So the Gehenom can't do anything to him. We're going to learn that in Hakdama Dalet when we learn about the story of Elisha ben Ahuya, Rabbi Akiva's friend. When he went up to Shamayim and he died and he was supposed to go to Gehenom, but they wouldn't take him Gehenom. It's not going to help him. He was such a Tana, he was such a Bit Milacham, that it doesn't help him.
It says he was hanging somewhere in between, like
he was in between, and then Rabbi Meir Baal Hanes got him into Gehenom, and Rabbi Yochanan.
How? If he learned that,
like we do with Tikkun HaNiftarim.
No, but if he said you're vaccinated, how are you going to go there? What's the point?
They got him in Baal Korcho. Again, that means even if it's worth it for him to go to Gehenom and to be in limbo. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
He must have been in Kafakela. I don't know, maybe he came in a Gilgul. I've heard many stories how Elisha ben Ahuya's neshama came back many times to go through that kind of process. But the point is that at the end he did go to Gehenom. Now, there is a limud in the Ari. Even if that neshama goes to Gehenom, a person who always learns Torah, he doesn't suffer there that much.
He just watching
it's like he just goes through the motions,
observing.
There is a cleansing over there, uncomfortability, maybe
right.
busha, maybe it's busha,
right.
Whatever it is. It's hard to know because the Ari wasn't megala this. The Ari didn't reveal to us. The Ari, remember, all the Torah we have is in a year and a half of the Ari HaKadosh teaching Rav Chaim Vital. How do we know? There's many literatures of the Torah Tasod, but we follow the Ari HaKadosh, right? And that you're not allowed to learn the other ones. You could learn and enjoy and go deep, but the cleanest, the most understandable limud is the Ari. The other limudim is very tough to understand, the Lashon, whatever. This is not a shiur about the different streams of Torah Tasod. Whatever the point is, that when a person passes away, he has to come back in the nefesh. He comes back in his nefesh. To get his ruach, he has to die. Now the nefesh doesn't come back with the ruach. The ruach comes with nefesh hager. When that ruach finishes, he dies. Now the neshama comes back down, and the neshama comes back with nefesh hager. Because the soul always needs an intermediate, we said, to combine with the body. Correct? That soul, because the other parts fix themselves, they don't want to come down and ruin themselves again. So therefore Hashem sends it with nefesh hager. What happens to that nefesh hager? We said at the end it goes into a goy and he wants to convert. A goy that has the kedusha enough inside of him that he's willing to be a real convert. Okay? So that's where we ended up last 2 weeks ago, more or less, correct? Now, we're in Hakdama Bet. Gamda. he says. Also know, כי לפעמים, there are times, יש שכאשר תתגלגל הנפש לבדה לתקן עצמה, תשתלם כל כך במעשיה עד שתזכה למדרגת הרוח שלה. There are times that the nefesh in one Gilgul fixed and he did so much that he got his ruach. והנה, and behold, אז אין יכולת אלא הרוח שלה לבוא עימה כנזכר לאל, לפי שהכלל הוא שאין שניהם או שלושתם יכולים להתחבר יחד בגלגול אחד אם לא בדוח הגדול. So let's say the nefesh is back in a Gilgul. And it's such a good nefesh, he did so good, he has to get his ruach now. But we just said if he doesn't die, he's not going to get the ruach. Correct? It's impossible that all three come back together because he's a migulgal, he's a reincarnated soul. So he won't come back, all three of them back. What happens then? If he fixed himself so much, like we learned in the first Hagdama, there are times when a person fixes his nefesh, he didn't just fix it, he got up to the keter, he has to get up to the keter. Right? We said in the nefesh. What happens then? Does he have to die now? אלא כל אחד תתגלגל לבדה. כי תחילה צריך לתקן הנפש. So we said that everyone is going to come back in its own reincarnation because he's a migulgal. It's a very important point. If you're a migulgal, you're not going to get your three parts together. You're not going to get it unless a person dies. This is all when he had them all three the first time. Because what's the problem? The ruach doesn't want to combine with the nefesh because the nefesh is fixed and he's not. Doesn't want to ruin the nefesh. There will be no end to all this. אף אשר נתקנה. אי אפשר לרוח לבוא, אבל צריך שימות. We said he has to die, ואחר כך תחזור הנפש להתגלגל. And so too, כשתחבר שניהם נפש רוח נתקלו שניהם, אי אפשר שיקבלו נשמה, עד שתקבלו פעם אחרת, עד שתקבלו נשמה. As we said before, same thing if a person had his nefesh and ruach, and he has to get his neshama, and he's a migulgal, he has to die now to get his neshama. Correct? צריך לידע. Now we're going to talk about ibur. I have a feeling we did this last time. צריך לידע, we have to know. So we're doing chazara. We're doing review. מה נעשה לנפש בעוד שכבר נתקן לבדה ביתי הרוח שלה? במסוד העניין הוא, כפי מדרגת ההזדחכות ומעלת תיקון הנפש ההיא, כך במדרגה היא עצמה יתגלגל אז בגוף האדם הוא בעוד חיים חיותו נפש של איזה צדיק אשר כבר נשלם להתקן ולהתגלגל ולא נצוח להתגלגל. If the guy has a nefesh and he fixed so much, and he still needs to live, he still deserves to live more, his ruach is not going to come down because he has to die to get the ruach now. So what does Hashem send him instead? The ruach of a tzaddik. That's called an ibur. And he can make his nefesh now to the highest levels that he can never even imagine. ונכנס נפש צדיק הזה במקום הרוח של נפש האדם הזה, he will get the ibur neshama and impregnation of a soul of a tzaddik. Once he finishes his nefesh, the ruach is not going to come down on him. Why? He said he has to die to get that ruach now, right?
I understand, but the question is if he gets the ruach of tzaddik, is he allowed to work on that ruach going up, or he's not?
Exactly.
That's somebody else's.
That's his whole point. He helps the ruach of the tzaddik.
Okay, so
he's gonna they're both gonna level up now.
Right, but then that ruach might go in some time, right? If to go.
Right. So if he does an avera, the ruach doesn't want any part in that avera because he's there as a guest. So we're gonna learn that the ruach leaves.
But isn't it like he's working on somebody else's ruach and not on his own?
So the thing is that he's gonna be able to, just like the nefesh of the ger. We said. Remember we learned the nefesh of the ger will enjoy in the same place as Gan Eden as the ruach or nefesh that he was with. Right, because they work together.
Right.
So too, that he will be able to also enjoy. He's not going to get the ruach of a tzaddik that's not from his shorosh neshama, obviously. So therefore, there is a. For example, that ruach of a tzaddik is missing one mitzvah. It's going to come down on him to fulfill that mitzvah.
So it's a two-way
Both
street.
they gain. Only gain. There's only a gain over here.
Right.
There's never a minus over here. Hakadosh Baruch Hu doesn't make. There's many levels over here. Obviously, you have to understand that as long as you're not mechalel Shabbat. You're not megale arayot chas v'shalom. You're not doing any of the deoraitas, and you're lomet Torah, tefillah, mitzvot, tefillin, tzitzit. it's already considered a very high level in Shorsei Neshama. Think about it like that. There's 15 million Jews. Ken Yerbu. And from all of them, the Orthodox keeping Torah is about, let's say, 1 million, 1.5 million. And you're one of them, that means your Neshama is already in a level of great tikkun. Okay? All what's left is to break the Ga'ava. That's all that's left. I was learning today a new book that came out. It's actually a remake called Imre Shimon Agassi, actually. The Bnei Aaron. And he writes over there, how does a person know that he probably finished his tikkun? If he reaches above the age of 70, 80. If a person gets to that age of 70, 80 years old, so he writes 70. It's a sign. He reaches Zikna. Zikna is the old age. It says, V'Avraham Zaken Ba'be'amim. Zaken, the Midrash Rabbah says, is the clothing Kibiyachol of Hashem Yitbarach. Hashem says, you do chesed, I'm going to give you Zikna. That's what the Midrash says. And Avraham was Zoket Zikna, which is the beauty of a person. The old age is the beauty of a person, when a person reaches the old age. So that means, says Rabbi Shimon Agassi, that if a person reached that age, you could assume that an old man finished his tikkun.
There's a lot of old men who don't.
Those people who are old and Amar, he said you could still assume they finished their tikkun for their averot, they're going to go to Gehenna. But their tikkun is done. That mitzvot is done. If he reaches Zikna, that's what Rabbi Shimon Agassi writes in Imre Shimon Zichuto Yaganenu Amen. He writes over there like that. It's not a chidush, it's a beautiful thing, he said. And he writes like that. I saw it today. Today I was learning it and I loved it. He's right. Zakan is Otiyot 156 plus 1, 157. Gematria Yosef. 156. It's a good idea to grow a beard. It's a kedusha. It's a kedusha in a person. The 13 principles of faith, of mercy, is in the beard. Kel, Rachum, Vechanun, Erech Apayim, Verav Chesed, Ve'emet. Notzer Chesed. This is Notzer Chesed. This part over here, Notzer Chesed. La'alafim. La'alafim. Noseh Avon. I think Noseh Avon is the lips. Vafesha. I missed one of the tikkunim, but Venakeh is the two parts of the beard. Some people, their beards, they grow very short. That's it, they come like this, it stops. But the real beard is like the Ben Ish Hai. The Baba Sali used to cry for his beard till here. Till the mid of the heart. Here's the heart. This is the real size. The Diknaha Ayona. All parts, this is all Rachamim. But Hashem gave it for nothing. You know who was the first people to take it off? The Russians. The Europeans to shave it off. Europeans, yeah. The Russians made it into law. Must take it off.
Now that style comes back, you didn't go in now.
But still, there's not in the high. You're not going to see a president with a beard, right? Imagine Trump was walking around with a beard. Lahavit. Or Biden.
Abraham Lincoln walked with the beard.
Was he?
Yeah, of course. Short people, he had the beard.
That's with small like this.
Yeah.
Let's finish the paragraph. We're not going to go so deep tonight because it's late. So that means the nefesh of that tzaddik takes the place of the ruach of that person, which can't come down because the nefesh of the tzaddik that comes in the ibur in that person takes the place of the ruach, which is still not fixed. It's gonna come when that person dies.
It's not the ruach of the tzaddik; it's the nefesh
of the tzaddik. It means the nefesh of a tzaddik takes the place of a ruach of a regular person.
So he has like a nefesh. He has like
Yeah.
two nefeshes.
But that nefesh of a tzaddik, for him, is considered like a ruach.
Okay.
And by the way, it says the Ari HaKadosh in Shaar Ma'amari Rashbi, that all the times you see in the Zohar HaKadosh, that suddenly the Ari sees Rav Hamnuna, and he sees Moshe Rabbeinu, and he sees all these tzaddikim, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, he sees all these tzaddikim, it's all in Ibur. He had the Ibur of that Neshama, and suddenly it was revealed to him, and they were teaching Torah.
He goes inside of him, and then he would like.
And it's a ruach dikdusha, and suddenly he starts to teach Torah from that ruach. They were very high level, but remember one thing: they only reached that level through sacrifice. Only through sacrifice. Here at Ton Sheni scale, let's finish the paragraph. לפעמים אפשר שיתגלגלו שם נפשות ראשונים. You could even be זוכה to the soul עד אברהם אבינו. עד כדי כך. וכיוצא בו כבי תיקון ההזדחכות לשם הזה, it all depends on your actions. ועניין זה הוא גלגול בחיים, it's considered כבוד הבי and reincarnation in life, which our חכמים call עיבור. וזה הפרש שיש בין גלגול לעיבור. וזה between הגלגול לעיני עיבור. One more paragraph because it's very delicious. Page mem aleph we're in. לפעמים אפשר שיתאר בו רוח ממש של אש. It could be you could even get a רוח of a צדיק. עד שתהיה מדורות ראשונים אפילו בזמני זה אחר. It means you and our generation, we could reach the level of the צדיקים הקדמונים. According to our הזדחכות המעשים. According to our capabilities and whatever we achieved. Remember, this is all in a person that has to die to get his ruach. But Hashem doesn't want to take his neshama because he could still do more. So he sends him the ibur. Correct? So he's saying that person could even get, don't think, okay, I'm not going to get my ruach, I'm done. No, you could even be zocher to the ruach of tzadikim akadmonim. Like Abraham Avinu, even more. Adam HaRishon.
But person probably will not even feel it. That's something.
You feel it.
Yeah.
How? You're not going to feel like suddenly boom.
No.
You feel like you have the power to do more things now. You're leveling up. I told you guys this many times. I said you feel like you could do more. You could be more chumrah. You could, you know what I'm saying? It's definitely a feeling. There's definitely a koach. Even a person sometimes feels like, I want to learn Gemara. Also considered a feeling of kedusha. Hakol toloi kefi ha'erech. All depends on the quality of the mitzvot. What he means by that, we're going to learn later on. What does it mean, quality of mitzvot? How much ahava and koach you put in a mitzvah. How much simcha you put in a mitzvah. Ki yesh mitzvot. Now there are some mitzvot shesgulatam nimshoch nefesh tzadik. There are some mitzvot that have a capability to bring down nefeshot of tzadikim. Like mikveh. Dipping in a mikveh erev Shabbat. שניים מקרא ואחת תרגום, צדקה. ויש מצוות שממשיכות רוח הצדיק. That means he doesn't reveal in Shaar Hagilgulim, at least not that I know of, but there are some mitzvot that have a segula. Like you have a segula to learn some masechtot for some things. There's some mitzvot that have a segula to bring down nishamot of tzadikim inside of you. Some the nefesh of a tzadik, some the ruach of a tzadik. We'll end over. Here's the Shem Barach. Don't forget we're at page mem aleph. 41.